I can tell you from my own experience, Madam Acting Deputy President, having been Chief Executive Officer of a company with an office in Singapore through much of the last decade, what a wonderful place Singapore is to do business. There is no corruption in Singapore. The work ethic of Singaporeans is very, very high. The quality of the finished product, particularly in the IT space, is enviable. And if I can refer back to my colleague Senator Day's comments in the last few minutes, both the company and the personal tax rate in Singapore is 15%. 15% makes it very, very attractive for people to live and to work in that country. Madam Acting Deputy President, it's interesting, under the influence of the Singapore government, particularly through the Singapore Housing Development Board, in excess of 90% of adult Singaporeans are living in the home that they either own, Mr President, or are buying through their Provident Fund. More than 90% of adult Singaporeans are in their own home. And we've had the debate in this place in recent times about what an aspiration it would be if only we could move in that direction for Australians. In terms of a place to live, again, I speak from a personal point of view. All three of my children resided in Singapore until 3 or 4 years ago, when 2 left to go to the United States, and my middle son remains in Singapore and has a business in that country, which is absolutely flourishing. I can tell you what a safe place it is. My wife and I would often visit our daughter, who did not know where her front door key was, simply because nobody locks their front doors in Singapore. Isn't that an incredible reflection in contrast to here in Australia? If you leave a mobile phone in a taxi, Mr President, generally by the time you realise that you've left your mobile phone, the taxi driver has returned to the location where they dropped you off, and the phone is there waiting for you. So what is the miracle that Lee Kuan Yew established for his country? Certainly on the negative side, there would be those who said he was far too dictatorial, and young Singaporeans today resist that level of interference in the day-to-day lives. But of course their parents would say this was a man who took us from an underdeveloped third world country to a first world highly IT economy. But we know, of course, it is a transport hub. All of us who have flown to Europe would know of the quality of the Singapore airport, consistently judged the best airport in the world. Shipping and shipping logistics, the tonnage of shipping that actually goes through the Port of Singapore. In terms of movement of containers, the Port of Singapore remains the world benchmark in terms of efficiency and effectiveness. We know that Singapore is an excellent banking, industrial and insurance country, and in fact Australia interacts and engages continually with that country. All of it, much of it, the legacy of Lee Kuan Yew. I speak, of course, as a Western Australian because of the closeness of the association between Singapore and our home state. Those of us associated in any way with higher education in WA would know of the very high proportion of Singaporean students who have been at our colleges of advanced education and our universities, and retain and maintain that very, very close link with Singapore as a result. Mr President, Lee Kuan Yew was a tower throughout the region. He was a close friend of Australia. He was very influential in China and its direction over time, and I, for one, think the world is poorer for his absence.
Thank you, Senator.